Hello sewing and non-sewing friends, and in this video I am going to be showing how to properly sew an outside corner and an inside corner and make sure you have nice pointy ends or corners. So the first exercise or the first project is an outside corner. So I'm going to go ahead and with some pins I'm going to pin my project, and then I'm going to head over to the sewing machine. Before I do that, I want to give you a little pointer here. To get sharp corners, you don't want to sew to the corner and then pivot and sew down, because you're not going to have any room to get some of that fabric out of the way. So what you need to do on light fabric, you would sew to the end, and a little bit shy of your seam allowance, you'll want to make one diagonal stitch at the corner. For a medium weight fabric, you would want to make 2 diagonal stitches at the corner, and for heavy fabric, you would want to make 3 diagonal stitches at the corner. So for this project, we're going to use 1 stitch at the corner, and I'll show you as soon as we get over to the machine. Let's go. Okay, we are at the machine. I'm going to go ahead, and here's the 5/8 7-inch seam allowance, which we are going to be following. I'm going to place my fabric under the presser foot, drop my needle, back stitch. I want to make sure that my thread is under the presser foot into the back. I'm going to stop here and move my needle. So I'm almost at the end, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop and kind of gauge to see where I'm at, and I am going to give 1 more stitch, and I'm going to turn. So I'm a little shy of the 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, so now I'm going to turn my piece diagonal 45 degrees, and I'm going to give 1 stitch. I'm going to turn back, and then I'm going to finish sewing down. Back stitch. I'm going to go ahead and set my stitches. I'm going to go ahead and press my seam allowance open, and I'm going to take some very sharp shears in the first stitch. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trim my seam allowance. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut across the corner to get rid of this bulk. I'm going to cut close but not cut my stitches. And then I'm going to go ahead and I want to reduce the bulk that's going to be in this area of my corner, so I'm going to cut some off here too. Okay. Now I'm going to take my point turner here, put my thumb on the inside here next to the corner with the point turner at the corner, and I'm going to turn it and push, and there I have my nice corner. So now I can go ahead and get my sides lined up. I want to have them facing me so I can see them. Give it a nice press here, and a nice press on this side. And then there we go. We have a nice sharp corner. In the next exercise, I'm going to do an inside corner. So here is our 2 pieces. Now one thing you want to do on here is you want to mark where your turn is going to be, because it can get a little bit, it can be hidden when you're at the machine. So I have a seam gauge here. I'm going to take my 5/8 of an inch. So I want to make sure I can see this clearly. So I'll just do one side. 5/8. I'm going to draw a line. And I'll put my 5/8. Let's go here. And I'm going to extend my line so that I have a nice point to turn. I'm going to go ahead and pin my pieces together and pin it so that it doesn't move. I'm actually going to pin right here near the corner and up here where we start, and go over to the machine. Okay, back at the machine, project underneath. I'm going to drop my needle, I'm going to back stitch. I'm going to sew all the way down to the corner. Oh, got some fuzzies up here. I'm going to stop. I'm going to check to see if I'm at my point, and if I turn it, you can see that I'm almost there. So I'm going to go ahead and put that back and one more stitch. There we go. So now we're at the corner. So I'm going to pivot. And it's good to have this line right here, because right now, unless you have some tape, you really can't see the measurements. So it's nice to have a line here so that by the time I get down to here, get to this point, I will see the measurements on the side. So it's good to have a line to follow. Now I'm back to my measurements. I'm going to back stitch and pull my project out. So back at the pressing board, I'm going to go ahead and give my project a nice press. Now at this point, you're not going to be able to turn your project because you have all this inside. So even if I tried, it's not going to happen. So I'm going to press that again. So what you're going to do is you're going to, with a nice pair of shears that has a very sharp point, you're going to cut up to the stitches, but not through. And if it's your first time, a good thing, here's a good practice, is to put a pin here to prevent you from going through their stitch. So I'm going to go up, and yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take my pin out. I'm going to go ahead and look. I think I'm good. Now you're going to press your seams open. I'm going to press on the outside. We're going to press open. This fabric gets hot. I'm going to make sure that my seam is my edges is facing me, so I can make sure everything is on the edge here, facing me, folding it down. And there we go. So we have our, so this is our inside corner. Now we have our outside corner. And then if you want, you can go ahead and top stitch. But that is a lesson for another video. Thanks for watching. Loves.